my channel. My name is Teresa. Thank you so much for clicking. I'm so happy you are here. Happy 2022. We have started a new year. Lots of fresh starts and planning and making goals. So for today's video, I wanted to do all the books I read in 2021. 2021 was a year full of ups and downs. Ups because I started feeling better from my chronic illness and figured out some coping mechanisms, and downs because we were in a pandemic and dealing with all of the COVID stuff, which was not fun. So last year I did a little bit of less pressure on readathons and just reading in general. As I said, I was feeling better, so I was actually out doing more, which made me not read as much. So I read 60 books in 2021, which I'm so proud of, and that was 17,624 pages. So I'm gonna say the title of the book, if it's in a series, the author, and what I rated it. So the first book I read in 2021, which was actually sent to me by an author, I read Republic of Rune, book 1 of the Legacy of Debris trilogy. This is by L. Blaze Hughes. This is in a dystopian novel. The series is amazing. I still have to read book 3, but I just don't want it to end, so I've been putting it off. You should definitely check it out. I gave this 5 stars. Next, I read a short story anthology called The Eternal Kiss, edited by Trisha Tellep. These are vampire short stories. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. It was pretty cool because I discovered some new authors that I wanted to try. Some of the authors in these books are Kelly Armstrong, Holly Black, Libba Bray, Sarah Rees Brennan, Rachel Kane, Cassandra Clare, Melissa De La Cruz, and a bunch more. So it was cool to find different authors that then I could go on Goodreads and look at their books. Next, I read Nancy Drew, The Secret of the Old Clock. This is book 1 in the Nancy Drew series. I had never read Nancy Drew before. It was a really fun read. I gave it a 4.5 stars. Unfortunately, the title of the book gave away what the whole mystery was. So that was a funny surprise, but it is middle grade. Next, I read The Storybook of Legends from Ever After High, book 1. This is written by Shannon Hale. This is an awesome middle grade. It has mixed media, super easy, fun read, and I gave this a 4.5 stars. Next book I read was book 2 in the Legacy of Debris by L. Blaze Hughes. This is Shattered State. This actually follows my favorite character in this trilogy, and I loved this also. I gave it a 5 stars. As I said, amazing. Then I did a buddy read with my friend, reading Living Dead in Dallas, book 2 in the Sookie Stackhouse series by Charlene Harris. I gave this a 4 stars. It's a paranormal adult. Then I read After We Collided, which is book 2 in the After series. This is by Anna Todd. I gave this a 5 stars. New adult, romance, enemies to lovers, and yeah. Great. Then I read The School for Good and Evil by Shaman Shanahani, if I pronounce that name right. This is also a middle grade, and this is book 1 in the series. It's as if villains and protagonists go to the same school. I gave that a 4.5 stars. Next, Crazy Rich Asians by Kevin Kwan. 5 stars. Amazing. Love the movie. Love the book. It's a fun adult chick flick, I'd say. Chick lit. Then I read book 1, The Tale of Emily Winsnap by Liz Kessler. This is a middle grade. She is half mermaid, half human. And this is book 1 in the series. I gave it a 4.5 stars. Next, I read A Shade of Novak. This was actually a reread because I wanted to prepare for the next part of A Shade of a Vampire, which this is book 8 in the series. 5 stars. I read it on Kindle. And then we have A Bond of Blood, book 9 in the series, A Shade of a Vampire. I also gave this 5 stars, and these are both written by Bella Forrest. Then I read The Dare by Lauren Landish. This is also a Kindle read. I gave it a 4.5 stars. It was hilarious. Adult chick lit. Next, I read Magic by Andy by Angie Said. This is a middle grade fantasy. It's as if, kind of reminds me a little bit of Harry Potter, but book 1 was super good. I tried book 2, but I actually couldn't get into it, so I'm good with book 1. Next, I read What Lies Above by Caitlin Lambert. This is actually one of my friends on Bookstagram. This is her first debut novel, and this was 5 stars. It's also amazing. It's like sci-fi slash dystopian, I'd say, but it's powerful. It has a disability character, and it's just a really good story if you are looking for intriguing, thoughtful dystopian that makes you really think about what's important in your life. Then I read Crave by Tracy Wolff. Amazing. It is a supernatural YA that's written like in Twilight era, kind of, with all these different supernatural creatures, and it's just fun. I had a fun time. I gave it 5 stars. Then for a buddy read with my friend Kelsey, I read Beneath the Sugar Sky, which is book 3 in the Wayward Children series by Sean McGuire. I gave this a 4.5 stars. This is a fantasy young adult. Then I read Crush, which is book 2 by Tracy Wolff. As I said, just fun. Just really fun. I gave it 5 stars. Then I read After We Fell by Anna Todd. This is book 3 in the After series. These are chunky books. I gave this a 4 stars. Then on Kindle I read I'd Tell You I Love You, But I'd Have to Kill You, The Gallagher Girls, book 1 by Allie Carter. This is a spy young adult novel, and I gave that 4 stars. Then I read Hunted by the Mob from the love-inspired suspense inspirational romance, which was actually a Christian suspense book. And I gave it a 3.5 stars, but it was a pretty quick read. Then with my friend Kelsey again, for a buddy read, we read In an Absent Dream, Wayward Children, book 4, and I gave that a 4 out of 5 stars. Then I read The Glittering Court with my friend Carly as a buddy read, and this is by Rochelle Mead. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. Then I read Hunger Games, The World of Hunger Games, which was pretty much like a graphic novel slash picture book. It was just a lot of information about the movie and the books, and it was really fun, but it was short, so I gave it 4 out of 5 stars. Then on Kindle I read Come Tumbling Down, The Wayward Children, book 5. Buddy read with my friend Kelsey. We read one each month, and I gave that a 4 out of 5 stars. Next on Kindle, I read Halfway to the Grave, The Night Huntress, book 1 by Janine Frost. I gave that a 4.5 stars. It's like adult paranormal. Then I read Ruthless by Shara Shepherd. This is book 10 in the Pretty Little Liar series. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. Next, I read Uninvited by Amanda Maroney, and I gave this a 3.5 stars. It was just odd. Next, I read Demon Glass, which is book 2 in the Hex Hall series by Rachel Hodkins. I give this a 4.5 stars. This is a YA paranormal from Hex Hall. Then I read a Christian book called The Fitting Room by Kelly Mintor. Gave that a 4 out of 5 stars. It's a self-help book. Then I read Across the Green Grass, book 6 in the Wayward Children series with Kelsey, and I gave that a 4.5 stars. Then I read book 2 in the Night Huntress series, One Foot in the Grave. I gave that a 4.5 stars. That's also by Janine Frost. Next, I read The Hidden Staircase by Carolyn Keene. This is book 2 in the Nancy Drew series, and I gave this a 4.5 out of 5 stars. This is a middle grade. Next, I read book 2 from The Immortals. This is by Allison Noel. I give this 5 out of 5 stars. The series is amazing. It's YA supernatural. Then I read Emily Winsnap and the Monster from the Deep, which is book 2 in the Emily Winsnap series by Liz Kessler. I gave that a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Next, I read Famous in Love by Rebecca Surley. I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars. Amazing. Next, I read in the Suki Stackhouse series, book 3, Club Dead by Charlene Harris. This was a buddy read with my friend Courtney, and I gave it 5 stars. Loved that book. Then I read The Lying Game by Sarah Shepard. I also gave this 5 stars. Then I read 13 Treasures by Michelle Harrison. I give this a 4.5 stars. This was a buddy read with Kelsey again because we ran out of the other series. Next, I read The Wicker King by Kay Ingram. This was a supernatural schizophrenia mental health slash YA. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. It has mixed media in it. Then I read Flunked by Jen Coletta. We have Fairy Tale Reform School. This is book 1 in the series. I gave it a 4.5 stars. Then I read Opal, which is book 3 in the Lux series. This was a 5 stars by Jennifer L. Armentrout. Love this series. Supernatural YA alien. Next, I picked up this fun series, The Spiderwick Chronicles. This is the Seeing Stone, book 2. I gave this a 5 stars because it was fun and I had a lovely time in the fall reading it. Next, I read The Bungalow Mystery, which is book 3 in the Nancy Drew series. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars by Carolyn Keene. Then I read Entwined by Heather Dixon Wallerk. I gave it a 4.5 stars. This is a retelling of the 12 Dancing Princesses. Next, I read book 1 from The Secret Circle by L.J. Smith, The Initiation. I gave this a 5 stars. I'm getting tired, that's why my voice is getting quieter. Then I read Charmed by Jen Coletta, book 2 in the Fairy Tale Reform School. I gave this a 4.5 out of 5 stars. Then I read Season of the Witch, The Chilling Adventures of Sabrina. I gave this a 4.5 stars by Sarah Rees Brennan. Then I read Goosebumps by R.L. Stein, and this is the Deep Trouble, the shark one. I gave this a 3.5 stars. Next, I read Lenobia's Vow by P.C. Cass and Kristen Cass. This is book 2 in the House of Night novellas. I gave this a 3 out of 5 stars. Then I read The Marionettes by Katie Weismer. She is a booktuber here on YouTube. And this is a like adult paranormal. I gave this 4 stars. Then I read The Spiderwick Chronicles, book 3 by Tony DiTerlizzi and Holly Black. I gave this 5 stars because Spiderwick is amazing. Next, I read Unchained from the Blood Bond by Helen Hart. And I gave this one a 5 stars. It was so good. It's adult paranormal. Then I read The 13 Curses by Michelle Harrison. This was a buddy read with Kelsey again. We have 4 out of 5 stars. It's a middle grade, fun, fantastical, mythical creatures read. So my last few, I read The Calendar Girl by Audrey Carlin. These are 3 books in one, so it's volume 1, but it's 3 books. I gave this a 4 out of 5 stars. It is adult romance. And last but not least, because it was amazing, I read Believe Me, which is Shatter Me, book 6.5 by Tahara Mafi. The series is amazing. Shatter Me is so good. And I got this book for Christmas and right away I read it because I was like, oh, I just have to read it. And it was written in Warner's perspective. Hey, my bookmark is in it. It was super good. So 5 stars. Oh my, I'm exhausted. So that is all 60 books I read for 2021. It was fun. I think I'm setting my goal for 55 next year so that if I surpass it, I am happy about it, but I don't want to like shoot for 100 because I just feel like that's too stressful. Yeah, I hope to see you around in this new 2022. And remember, you can find magic wherever you look. Sit back and relax. All you need is a book. Thank you so much for watching, and I hope to see you in my next videos. Bye! Next I read, before I lose all these books and cry. Oh my gosh. Then I went at, can I not speak anymore? Apparently. Love by Zach, then I book, oh, blah, 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 blah. This is book 2 in the Nancy Drew, ow. Then I read book 2 by, can I not speak? It's at, then I read book 2 by, there you don't snow, Riley. Alrighty, then I have to flip all these books. Amanda Moore, no, yeah. Amanda Maroney. Novak. Ugh. Don't fall. I'm tired. I think I grabbed the wrong book. I needed Deadly, not. I needed Ruthless, not Deadly. Oops. Whoa.